there's a couple tests I want to do today. So, with it running out of fuel at the high RPMs in like 5th gear, what I did, this gas is probably no good, whatever. So what I did was I drilled, so if you move this to the on, there's that little hole in there that vents it. I drilled another hole there, another hole there, so now I can line them up. Now there's 3 holes venting the cap, which I feel like is plenty, but we're still not going to rule out the cap. And then the carb, the float, I didn't feel like was going high enough before it shut off the fuel, so I bent the tab. So now it's to the point where it has to go, it goes so far up the float that even when it's all the way full, it still is kind of trickling out of this, like a drop. Like this is sat overnight, well 2 days now. There's not even any drops on that from coming out of the overflow, but it did drip like once or twice when I was sitting here. So it's like right on the edge of, that's as full as the bowl can get without constantly filling. And then this thing was in the carb. It kind of just presses up. The main jet comes through here, the pilot comes through here, it kind of separates the jets. I have never had a carb that had this in there. I don't know if it's like essential on this carb to keep that in there or not, but I took it out because what's it going to do? Run bad? So the float's adjusted, that piece of plastic's out. Those are the only 2 things I've done. I'm going to take it out. I did move the needle 1 notch leaner, so I don't know if that's going to do anything. I just did it because it wasn't in the middle, and putting it 1 notch leaner puts it back in the middle, so that's not a big deal. If it's wrong, I'll put it right back to the 1 step richer. But I'm going to take it out, do some, watt pulls, and then see if it still cuts out on me. If it does, then I might try, let's see, I might try just drilling a hole on the top or something just to get it to vent more. I'll do a run with it loose. I would do it with it all the way off, but it'd be a mess. So I'll do it with the cap loose, maybe put some paper towel around it or something, see if that does anything to help it vent. And then other than that, I mean, it runs great, other than at the high RPMs it cuts out. And to me, it feels like it runs out of fuel, because once it cuts out, if you just don't give it gas for a few seconds, it acts like it fills back up and then it's good to go and it runs fine again. So to me it feels like it runs the bowl dry. I'm not 100% sure that's exactly what it is, but that's what it feels like to me. That's what it acts like. I did just order a K&N filter for that. It'll be here tomorrow. But I'm going to warm it up and then take it out down the street for a couple pulls and see if it makes any difference. Hopefully it does, because I hate dealing with carbs. Always just issues for me. They never just work right, no matter what I do. And this is another one. I mean, it runs perfect other than it running out of fuel up top, so it's pretty, well, it's super windy outside. It's only like 50 degrees, and it's like when I opened my door to come out here, my door flew open in my house, so it's really windy, but I'm going to take it out anyways just because it's supposed to rain in like 2 hours. And I want to know if these couple little things I did are any different, so I'm going to warm it up and take it out. One more thing really quick. People always ask me why I keep a zip tie under my seat right here. I know I've said this before, I'm pretty sure, but it's for when I don't feel like shaking the bike all over the place. You dip this in till it hits the bottom. You put your finger at the top of the cap. That would indicate a full tank. Pull it out, and you can tell how much fuel you got in there. This is just my little gas gauge I keep under my seat. That's all it is. It's not like an emergency zip tie if something breaks, even though you could use it for that. But that's all it is. It just tells me how much gas is in the tank. Pretty simple. was 100% cold start. Fires right up. She's all warmed up, ready to go. See what happens. I got the numbers all reset so we can see the top speed. Someone had some fun there. It is super windy out, but I just held the fifth wide open for a while and it never cut out. It never backfired when I let off. It never lost throttle response. So either raising that float worked or moving that needle up when it doesn't feel as powerful now. Maybe it's because I put it a little bit leaner. It's still got a lot of power, but it doesn't feel like it is all there, but it's still good. So maybe I'll put that needle back to one step higher and leave the float setting because it didn't run out of fuel. It is really windy, but I think we only went like 67, 68 miles an hour right there into the wind. I'm gonna do a little rip here and I'm gonna try to do a fifth gear wheelie since I haven't done that yet. So I'll try that. Alright, so that was my first fifth gear wheelie. I actually felt really smooth. It's not as sketchy, like and touchy as I thought it was going to be. It came up just as, it actually came up easier in fifth than the 140 did in fourth. So that's good. That was smooth. I'm going to hit the same road if the wind's not terrible. Right here would be good because I don't really feel any wind. That crossroad's pretty bad though. I'm going to try to break 70 miles an hour. I want to break 70. And then I'm going to take it home and we're going to consider this good. Maybe I can ride it a longer distance now without being worried. There it is, we broke 70. I mean, barely. We only went 70.6, but like, that was into the wind. Not really trying that hard. 75.5 with on a windy day with ease. Literally, this is 1632 gearing. My 140 was 1632. It would go that fast, but you'd have to be like 100% speed tucked, 100% zero wind, like the perfect weather to even do that. It's like pretty cold outside. It's like 49, 50 degrees. Super windy. I don't even understand why it's so windy. And when I just cruised back to my house, I was cruising at a steady like 66, 67 miles an hour in fifth gear, like with ease into the wind. Wasn't even speed tucking. Was nowhere near full throttle. Like, and I punched it from 65 and got up to like 75 in like no time. So it's working. Something that I did worked, but it never cut out on me once. There's a little bit of a hiccup when like you smash on the gas and let off real fast and then get back in it. Kind of has a little hiccup, but I'm pretty sure my 140 did the same thing. It never ran 100% perfect, but it ran really good. But it's so hard to dial a carburetor in to do everything perfect and every single throttle crack and this and that. But I'm happy with the way it runs now. I think I'm going to move it to the little bit richer needle because it feels like it's lacking just a little bit of power compared to before. I mean, it's still powerful, but it feels like just a little bit. So it might be just a touch lean now that I moved the needle down. So I'm going to move it up just one more notch and then go from there. But yeah, that first fifth gear wheelie, I was so scared to wheelie this thing. I was nervous it was going to just be like flip me over backwards, super touchy in the throttle. But that was actually pretty smooth for being the wind blowing me across the road and first time bringing it up in fifth. So I'm actually pretty comfortable to go out and wheelie this thing everywhere. It's really no different than the 140, like the way the bike feels, obviously, other than my foot pegs are a lot higher now. But yeah, that wheelie felt good. First fast wheelie of the year, first fast wheelie with this motor. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then since I parked it, since I tipped it on its side just a little bit, one drop or so came out of the overflow. So I do want to pull the bowl back off and adjust the float just a little bit back so it's not sitting on that line of overflowing and constantly flowing out the overflow. But I am happy with that. That's what I wanted. I wanted to break 70. We did 75.5 and we did a fifth gear wheelie and it didn't cut out on me. And I cruised at 66, 67 miles an hour with ease. So can't beat that. I'm pretty stoked on that. But that's literally all I wanted to do today. It's going to rain here in like an hour. It's cold anyways. So that's all I wanted to do today was just test the carb with the things I did, that little plastic thing I took out. I'm not putting it back in. It seems to run perfectly fine without it. I don't know exactly even what it does other than separate the main from the pilot, but it just kind of slid in there. I've never had a carb that had it before, so we're not going to use it. Yeah, that's going to be it. I just wanted to do that real fast. I wanted to break 70, I wanted to do a wheelie, and I wanted it to run good. So mission accomplished on that one.